how do you know how much heat is actually required for your house, or even how much cooling is required for your house? I'm Phil from Euroheat, and let me explain to you a couple of different ways to find this out. Finding out how much energy your house actually needs so you can size the correct heating or cooling system, or heating and cooling system, is an important first step. And generally there's two ways it's done, or maybe 2.5 ways. The halfway, I'll say, is it's just people just taking a wild guess, right? They just say, oh, it looks like a 10 kilowatt house, that'll be fine, let's give it a crack. And they hope for the best. And that can work out, or it can not work out, and it can cost someone a lot of money. But the next level up from that is using a rule of thumb, which usually is a square meter rate. So in Australia, for a long time, the sort of square meter assumption for floor heating, for example, or just heating in general, is about 80 watts a square meter. So if you have a 100 square meter house, or 100 square meter of heated floor area, you would need a heat source, a gas boiler or a heat pump, of about 8 kilowatts. That's one way to do it. And let's say in Perth, these days it's assumed about 150 watts a square meter will provide enough adequate cooling for your rooms in your house. So you can sort of figure out the ballpark way. And this is how most contractors actually will size your system. They'll just look at your floor plan, estimate plus minus the roughly the square meters, and then they'll put this value in, say 80 watts a square meter for floor heating. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that it's a bit of a guess, but it's a sort of like a guess with experience. Are you going to have issues with it? Well, potentially, but there's a 90-95% chance that everything's going to be fine, and that's going to be enough heat. And the reason we know this is we've been doing this for over 30 years, but the other reason is the next level up from guessing or sort of estimating is doing the heat load calculations. So for many projects we do these heat load calculations, and unfortunately it's not a free service because it takes us a few days to do it. We basically put your building design, all of the materials, how your walls built, your roof, the floors, everything, into this software, and then we simulate every hour of every day of the year with the sun angles and the temperatures in your locality. And we can figure out exactly how much energy is lost through the walls, or how much energy is gained from the morning sun in, at 9 a.m. in December if you've got east-facing windows. So all these factors are incorporated and considered, and then we get a whole unbelievable amount of numbers. It looks like the Matrix. It's just numbers everywhere. And then we make some sense of this, right? And we say, okay, well, we can see that there is a lot of heat load coming in through this particular window in this room of the house at 10 a.m. in December. And so we say, okay, well, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, Mr. and Mrs. Architect, can we put some shading there? Can we put an eave there, or maybe some external blinds, or maybe some tinting on the windows to lower that heat load? Because that is the first thing you should do if you're serious about having an energy efficient house and heating and cooling system. Because after all, the heating and cooling system usually takes up in Australian homes about 50 to 60% of the total energy consumption in the home is used for that. So if you're going to start cutting down or being more energy efficient somewhere, that's the best place to start because it's the biggest consumer. What we also find out with doing this thermal modeling is that sometimes in a very efficient house, we might see that the floor heat load might be, let's say, 20 watts a square meter. Sorry, there's some flies buzzing around. So 20 watts a square meter. And so that means that if you just use that rule of thumb, 80 watts a square meter, it means it's totally been the system's been over-designed, over-capitalized, the heat pump is bigger than it needs to be, etc. So you're spending more money for the installation for energy that you don't actually need. The system's still going to work fine, it's all good, but you're probably paying a little bit extra to start off with. But the flip side of that is you can pay for this thermal modeling, and it might cost a few thousand, but I guess you can either you spend a few thousand now to save, say, 5,000 later, or you can just elect, which a lot of people do, just to go by the rules of thumb and just go that way and not have any thermal modeling. So sometimes it might be say 20 watts a square meter, but sometimes we see it's 120 watts a square meter for heating, or for cooling it might be, instead of the 150 watts a square meter, it might be 300 watts a square meter. So that needs to be allowed for, and in the design of the system and the building, because if it's not, the system will be on and working, but you will still find that that room is uncomfortable. It's either too cold or too hot. What you're looking for is someone that can provide a full service, say their thermal modeling, so with confidence they know how much energy is required for your house. And if not that, at least they have a lot of experience in saying, okay, well, yes, we know with this type of house, with your, say, glazing in this part of Australia, we know that we need to allow X amount of watts per square meter, and yeah, we can go from there. So look for someone that has a lot of experience in designing, installing, and being responsible for heating systems and cooling systems that work in the long run, and you should have a successful installation yourself. If you're looking for someone specifically to help you with your heating and cooling project, please do give us a call at Euroheat. We have the ability to help Australia-wide. We are based in Perth, but we love helping everyone achieve a comfortable and efficient house or building to live or to work in.